Hello Capricorn, welcome to your tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, and consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. Now this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. Okay. Remember that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there is a 3 of discs. Wonderful, strong, insightful energy. Let's put this into some context. We're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread. Already I see a lot of air energy going on here. If there's anything you need me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know in the comments. Now we're going to finish up with the path of the serpent here. This is some interesting energy, a lot of air here. We're going to do our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use the Handel Tarot deck. And my wife and daughter just got me this as an early Father's Day gift. So we kind of get to break it in together, right? I've literally just opened it this morning. So we get to kind of take a look at it together here. One card, lizard on top. We're not going to look at it till the very end of the reading. And hopefully it will tie everything together and give us the confirmation that we need at the end. Okay. So we've got these 2 really wonderful major arcana up here. We've got air, 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 air. We've got earth, 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 earth. A lot of air, a lot of earth. Okay. A lot of air, a lot of earth. And you know what? The air and the earth don't really get along, right? So I'm hoping that these major arcana, one is water, one is air, essentially. I'm hoping that these major arcana cards can really control all of this air and earth and kind of be like a parent, you know, keep everybody from fighting, keep everybody kind of cooperating and sharing, you know. But let's start first with this 3 of discs. You've got a lot of things in the works right now. I think that you are finding yourself maybe spread a little thin with things. You know, I think that you have a lot of commitments. I think you're very much focused on the essential aspects of whatever you're doing. If it's your work, if it's your home, I kind of feel, and I always get this feeling for Capricorn, that you are in some kind of a family business or something, you know? And then with the air and with all this earth, it does feel like there's always something kind of business related going on with you. This could be your work, it could be your career, it could be the group of people that you associate with. I think there's an unknown number of people involved here, but I think a big issue here is the way that we're interacting with those people, right? The dynamic between us and them, okay? But you're someone right now who really understands the value of work. You really understand what your responsibilities are. You understand what you're doing and why. You understand what the results are going to be. I think you've worked very hard to get the different components, the essential kind of mechanisms of your work. And when I say work, I don't just mean your job or your employment. I mean whatever it is that you do every day, whatever it is that you do kind of like with your physical body, you know, whatever you apply yourself to. And yes, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual, but whatever you're expressing through your activities, okay? So even if you're, you know, post-career, if you're retired, if you are in between employment right now, there's some kind of work going on with you. There's something that you do every day. And maybe it doesn't feel like work. Maybe it really, really does feel like work. But you're figuring it out, and you've got to this place of understanding what's essential, and you've really focused on those key things. It seems like maybe there's 3, but there could be more or less. But these are the essential aspects of whatever this work is, and you've really gotten these essential things down perfectly. You understand how the system works. You understand how this work of yours functions. Okay? And I think that it took a long time for you to get here. It really was a long process of investigation, of trial and error. Here's the Four of Swords in the past position. This was a lot of trial and error. This was a lot of experimentation, a lot of trying and failing. A lot of work went into this, a lot of planning, a lot of kind of strategy, a lot of having to revise those plans, right? Having to rethink things, having to, in some ways, almost scrap what you're doing and start over. A lot of trial and error with the Four of Swords here. But this is behind you. I think now you've reached a state where you have an understanding of how things work and things are working. Provided that you are able to keep these three plates spinning at the same rate, right? As long as you can give the appropriate energy to these however many components or the essential mechanisms here, as long as you can keep every one of these things running smoothly, everything will function together in a perfect way, right? Everything's part of the whole. And if the whole is going to function, each of these components have to be functioning within themselves, right? Every cell of the body has to be functioning properly for the body to function as it should. If one of these cells is dysfunctional or breaks down or something like that, it's discarded. Okay, so I think you're kind of in this mode now where things are running really smooth. It's like a flywheel or something, and anything that's not working, anything that's not functioning as it should is gone. Now, it could be that you run your own business, and this is involving other people in your life that are working for you or working with you, and if they are not functioning as they should, they've got to go. It's just business, right? It's not personal. But I feel like there is this pesky air sign person who is a particular troublemaker. I kind of feel like they are one of these components. They are kind of a part of this machine that's not functioning properly. They are one cell in this larger body that somehow isn't working right, you know? And I kind of think that you're in this mode of trying to decide kind of what to do about that, you know. Down here we see a princess of sorts, see a lot of air. So I kind of wonder, we go from the knight to the princess. We go from the fire to the earth of the air. So I think you're trying to make a decision. This person is kind of a nuisance. They're a frustration, right? You're trying to decide, you're trying to make a practical decision about what to do. And I think it maybe seems obvious what to do, but it's not the easiest thing. And it could be because they're a family member. It could be because you're not in a position where you can just let somebody go. You know, there's all sorts of reasons why this is not the easiest thing to either to decide or to execute. Okay. So it could be that you know the right thing, but you're resistant to it. The Princess of Swords is saying perhaps that you know the absolute right thing to do and you're going to do it. It's not something you really want to do. You don't like to do it, but you recognize the necessity of it. It's the practical thing to do. May not be the most compassionate, but it's the practical thing. Well, we've got this Chariot card up above all of this earth and air here. So the earth and air right now is kind of coming under the dominion of this watery Cancer-like energy, right? And some of this energy is saying that, look, you don't want to be the one to cause trouble. You don't want to upset anyone. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want to stir the pot. But you recognize in a practical way that with this earth and air, you have to, right? Because the air, too much air on the earth just creates like a dust storm, you know? The dust gets into the machine, it gets in your eyes, it's a bad deal. So you are trying to harden yourself to the fact that you've got to make this difficult decision. You've got to do this. Despite this kind of the soft spot that you might have for this person, maybe they are a family member, maybe they're a close friend, you've got to kind of put on your armor and do the difficult thing, because that's the business, that's the practical, that's the reasonable thing to do. It doesn't quite vibe with your compassion. You're a very empathic person. So in order to do this, you kind of have to, you're going to kind of put on some gloves, right? You don't really want to get dirty doing this, but you recognize that you have to do it, if that makes sense. So the Chariot here is kind of the master of all of the earth and air that's over here. We've got to make this difficult choice with this air type person. They may not be an air sign, but they're causing trouble the way this air energy would with all of the earth that's here. Okay. And so the water, that Chariot energy, is kind of trying to do this in a way that is going to be least harsh, right? You got to do something about this person, but you want to be nice about it, right? You don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and you certainly don't want to have regrets or feel bad afterwards or feel guilty, right? So we've got to put on the armor in order to do this. We have to protect ourselves from being too deeply affected by what really needs to be done in this situation. I don't know if this is work, if this is in some kind of a group, an organization that you're in, if this is maybe in the home and in the family. But this air person is a bit of a nuisance, and they are like the dust in this machine that's going to cause the whole thing to malfunction. If one little component isn't functioning right, the whole system is going to break down, you know? What we really are looking for is the 9 of discs. We're looking to restore the proper functioning of this system, this machine, whatever this thing is that we're involved with. So I think in the immediate future, you are going to end up doing the right thing. That's going to lead to the restoration of the proper functioning of whatever this is. And that's going to lead to success. Whatever success is in this type of context, that's what you're aiming for. Right? That's where we're trying to go. And that's difficult to do with this Chariot energy, I'll admit that. So this seems to be the difficult thing is to reconcile the air and the earth, right? And to do it in a way that kind of like doesn't really hurt anyone, right? And it's probably impossible to do. But that's the dilemma of this Cancer energy, this Chariot energy. Is that you can't act in such a way where everybody wins, everybody feels good at the end. That's just not practice. It just doesn't work that way. So what are we to do? You know? Well, I think you're going to make the choice that leads to the success, the profit, the growth of whatever this business, this organization, this life, this plan, this family, project, whatever it is. You're going to do what is best for the whole thing. Okay? And that kind of brings us over here to this Prince of Discs. Now, the Prince of Discs is an interesting card to be right here, because now this is Air of Earth, Prince of Discs, right? This is air and earth combined. So this is you now kind of thinking, wow, now I can have the air and the earth. I now embody both of these elements. So it's almost as if you kind of get a taste for this, right? Like you start realizing that there's something here. There's something to this work and being this kind of, not like a boss or a manager, but someone with a little bit of authority, or with the ability now to have our water chariot Cancer kind of energy. Now I know we're Capricorn here, but to have this kind of soft spot, this compassion within us, but to kind of compartmentalize it, to be able to separate the business from the personal. Now, I'm usually not one that likes to separate business from personal, because to me, my business affects me personally. Whatever work I'm doing, it affects me personally. So for someone to say, sorry, it's just business, well, it's personal to me because it's affecting my livelihood and that of my family, you know. So I usually don't like this kind of separation of the business and the personal, and I think maybe you don't either. And maybe the business is the earth energy and the personal is this air energy, and you're finding a way to really combine it together. You recognize that it is intensely personal, and maybe that gives you the right kind of finesse, the right kind of compassion and empathy to be in this kind of role in whatever group you're in, if this is at work or at home or a project, an organization, a community thing. Could be your church, temple, or lodge. Maybe you've kind of learned how to fit both of these things together. And you can have this Cancer water chariot type of energy as a way to kind of glue together the air and the earth, the personal and the business, right? And I've always said that, Capricorn, it seems like you have this kind of opposition in your life between business and family, between business and personal. It's always been like that. Go check the past readings. I wonder if it's through this Cancer energy that you're finding the glue, finding the way to bring these two together. We've had a lot of Cancer energy in your past readings too. So in some way, that water, that compassion, that empathy, this chariot energy might be the key for you finally learning how to glue together your business and personal, right? Your work and your home in the right way, the proper way. Okay? And that's represented by the Prince of Discs. So that's interesting. It's interesting that we have, I mean, this is kind of a rare thing to have just air and earth, right? Ruled by these two major arcana. It's very interesting, very rare. It's a unique spread. The next card is this Seven of Swords. More swords, of course. This is in your environment. This is what is all around you. And I think that this is your confidence. This is your ability now to resist the opposition. If you have to be a little bit stern, if you have to make decisions, if you have to kind of give orders or be the authority, be the boss, if you have to make decisions, others are not always going to agree with those decisions, and they're going to try to change your mind. And maybe if we're too much in this water Cancer kind of energy, we would end up yielding and changing our minds, right? But that charioteer has their armor on, and you're learning how to glue together both of these things. The personal, the communication and the business, the family and the work kind of thing, the home and whatever. So you're going to be able to resist the kind of the pleas from others to get you to make a different decision or change your mind or try to influence your decisions. You're resisting that. And that, I think, is a big step for you. I think that's a very kind of important milestone, and you should recognize that this ability is increasing. You're not as changeable maybe as you once were. You don't let others, change your mind. When you've made a decision, when you've put your foot down on something, you're not easily swayed, right? You're not going to waffle. And I think that's a very powerful quality for you. Now, the next card we have is this Ace of Discs. The Ace of Discs is but one of the components here in this larger understanding of the work that you're doing and the implications of it and the responsibilities, the requirements, the commitments that are involved in this larger work that you're involved with, whatever it may be. This is one of those components. Now, this card's in the position of what you don't want. I think you don't want to have to bring in somebody else to like replace this person and have to train them and start all over again. You don't want to have to do one of these components. You don't want to have to build a new one, right? Does that make sense? You don't want a kind of brand new part. You want the old part. You just want to fix it so it works. It's already familiar. It's already broken in, right? You don't want to buy a brand new part and have to like introduce it to everybody else and, kind of oil it up and screw it in and wait for it to kind of acclimate, Too many new parts, I think, aren't functional. The old parts are already broken in. They just need to be rebuilt a little bit, repaired. So I feel like you don't want anything new or anyone new. You want the people that you have to all function the way they should. If it's not people, it's energies, or it's whatever the components are, whatever the different mechanisms are for this work that you do. Okay, because now, like I said at the beginning, you understand how this is all functioning, and you understand what it's going to take to keep it functioning. And in order to bring in the type of success that we're looking for and to make progress with whatever this project is, whatever this work is. The point of it is to continue to do it, right? The reason for doing it is to keep doing it. Whether that means a successful business or turning a profit or, producing as much as you can, whatever success looks like. This is it. The Nine of Discs is it. And this is what you want. You want active progress. You want visible signs of progress and movement. You don't want to have to keep kind of starting over and bringing in new components, right? Because it's kind of like you've already done that tinkering. You've got the perfect setup now. You don't want to change anything. So this air energy, it may be a particular person. I thought it perhaps is a particular person who's kind of a bit of a square peg, in a round hole. But it could just be the way that the air energy, the way that the dynamics between you and the other people involved, it may not be one particular person. It could be one particular dynamic between different people, Star card coming next. The Star card is kind of the ruler of all of the air energy. This is air in terms of divine communication, grace, spiritual blessings, spiritual insight. I think that this, more than the Cancer energy, this is some of that really refreshing spiritual water, the kind of manna from heaven that is washing over all of this, right? So not only are you finding the glue that can blend together or glue together the air and the earth, but you're kind of getting a divine sanction on it all. Now, it's not just that you're combining the air and the earth, but that combination now somehow activates this spiritual component. It's like all of these components are the sum, right, is greater than the parts, right? By putting these little pieces together, you're making something that is so far beyond just the individual pieces. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm explaining that right. But it's greater than what any of the individual parts are by themselves, and it's greater than what the parts are put together. It activates something even more magical, right? And I think that's one reason why you don't want to change out any parts. You've found the configuration that works, you just have to get it tuned right. And once you tune it right, it's like it's going to unlock this just magical realm. This divine energy is just going to come pouring in. And I think this is, I don't know if this is a creative project, if this is some kind of life's work, if this is your business, but I feel like it's tuned almost right. There's just this little bit of air energy and this little bit of discord between the air and the earth, again, that we've got to kind of reconcile or glue together with this chariot energy to unleash this truly divine blessing over all of this work. I'm very curious what it is that you're working on. We're going to go to the mystery card now. I hope you'll leave me some comments and let me know how you're doing, let me know how you're feeling, and if you want to share a little bit about the work that you do, that'd be just lovely. Mystery card now. I wonder if it's going to be some air or some earth. I hope not, but let's just see. Well, it's the Wheel of Fortune. It's the Wheel of Fortune. Lovely card. This is really a beautiful image. This is some really good Jupiter energy. Okay, this is, I think, showing now this machine is tuned right to now. It's like this perpetual motion machine. It just keeps going and going and going and expanding and growing and growing. And this is kind of the function. It's like you've booted it up now. All right, you finally are now able to, you've got it tuned perfectly. You turn it on, or you turn the key, start the engine, and it just hums and purrs, and it just like grows in power. The success just keeps coming and coming and coming. This is really a good fortune. This is a good destiny for this, you know? And I think that this is the spiritual gasoline in your spiritual engine, and there's really no limit to where you can go with this. It's just really a matter of tuning, tweaking these little things. Now, we had the Four of Swords, so I felt like you had already done the tuning and the fine tuning, but maybe the Four of Swords was just really about getting the kind of basic pieces together. Maybe this fine tuning is what's taking place now between the earth and the air and these major arcana, the fine tuning. I think you're very close to whatever this is. I'm very excited for you. Very strange, very kind of rare configuration here, but I'm happy about it. We're going to do an extended, and if you would like to stick around for that, please click on the link that is right here. And you can have access to all of the extended readings for all signs, not just Capricorn, but every zodiac sign. This was your tarot reading here on Dove and Serpent Tarot. Thank you so much for letting me read for you.